Welcome back, my HA Council, to part 2 of this massive adventure of me trying to do the impossible and Nuzlocke Pokemon Emerald Kaizo. I can tell you now this episode is a doozy, but you're going to have to wait until the end to see what I mean. So to recap where we're at, we have 3 badges in and we've already lost our starter. And the aim for today's episode is to beat Winoa, so strap yourself in for the chaos we're about to witness. Now, to address any controversy from the last video, yes, I am using rare candies to level up instead of grinding. This is because this game makes grinding take forever, and unfortunately to get to the levels I would want it to get to, it would take far too long. Look, I work full time, have the Baba and the wife, I train daily, and also have other commitments. So in order to make sure that I can give you guys a new challenge video every 3 weeks, I made this decision. Call me a cheat, call me a con artist, call me Facilify if you wish, and if you decide to unsubscribe, then I understand. If you still want to see what happens, then it's time to jump in. With our 3rd badge obtained, we can use Rock Smash, which means I can now head north to continue our quest. I did have to fight some starter Pokemon in doubles, which is quite cool to do. I don't know what it is, but I always get excited fighting the starter Pokemon. I fight the camera crew and go protect my image. It clearly must be CNN. I did some more duel battles, and by winning them I got squirted to evolve into Blastoise to add more power to the squad. I hated doing this section because there's a lot of back and forth to Pokemon Center because the team kept getting battered. We arrived on Route 112 and obtained an Absol, which I called Ninja. I don't even know if it's any good. I start heading up the cable car to investigate what's going on, and I had to start fighting the Magma Grunts. During these battles, Yokozuna is just kicking ass and showing that he really is the captain of this team. The Magma Grunts have blocked the entrance, so I have to go around, and before I go to the hairy path, I find a Grunt who has a Shelgon, a Metang, and a Pupitar. Christ, this is madness! We break the Grunt and get inside, and I obtain a Charmeleon. Get in! And I call it Akuma. I thought to myself, after the last video, I do need to save it in case I need it later. Charizard is a powerhouse, and as I said in the last video, I need to manage any new Pokemon carefully. I next arrive on the 2nd section of 112, and because at the time I didn't know it was the same route, I counted it as a new route. So I ended up catching a Vulpix and I called it Kurama. Now I imagine some people won't be happy with this, so feel free to moan at me in the comments below and I'll blow you kisses. The more you moan, the more kisses you get. So I started fighting a Grunt, and it wasn't really concerned until Makargo used Explosion on Yokozuna, nearly taking it out, but it just held on. My next fear came a minute later when Dunsparce left I squirted with 5 HP, and I had to switch out into It's a Trap to remove the Dunsparce. I keep having to face double battles which really get pissing me off as I had no idea who they have, plus they're set up to play well with each other, but I played smartly enough so I could get through them. I then found the old woman whose house I could heal at, which was great as it could help when I needed to recover. When fighting another double battle, I came within a whisker of losing Yokozuna again, and I had to switch to save it. I head into the ash-covered grass and I caught a Shroomish. I called it Toadie because I was really struggling to think of a name at this point. There's only so much creativity that this brain can produce. I managed to keep fighting through the trainers on the ash grass and got through, but now Yokozuna is far more powerful than anything else as I was heavily relying on it. I really need to use the rest of the squad a little bit more, I think. I get to the open bit of land and, oh what the hell, Red again! I'm not ready for this match at all. He starts off with Pikachu and Yokozuna kills it in 1. Next was Espeon, but I gambled I'd be faster and went for a Shadow Punch. Luckily I was, and I one-hit KO'd it. Next was Charizard, and I gambled again that I would remove it, and remove it I did. Snorlax was just more meat for the slaughter. Blastoise was also killed in 1, and it was just Venusaur, and I gambled and managed to get the kill. On reflection I was extremely stupid, because had that cross-chop missed, I would have lost my strongest Pokemon. I suppose I had to be glad that Red was beaten once more, which makes me think I'm going to be seeing him again at a later point. I arrived in Fallborough Town, had fun with the grass and obtained myself an Aron, which I called Fake Hero. I love Aggron, I loved its design when it came out, but I've always thought I couldn't really use it probably because it's too slow. I kept him in the box because I may need it for the future as it can be a monster if I need it. I head into the random house and get told to bugger off to get my own fossils. That was a waste of time. In this shop I find all the stones, even moonstones. Okay, I suppose this game does want to give a help if it can, but this meant I can get my Nidoking. God, this reminds me of Generation 1. I felt it was time to get the team up, so I got to the level 40 mark. When leveling, I noticed Thrasher learned Drill Run, which is normally useless to use. Drill Run is a one-hit KO move, which is normally not worth using, but this time it's an 80 power move with 100% accuracy, which is actually really handy to have due to Thrasher getting stab damage as well. Like seriously, put that in the main game. I also learned Mega Horn, which is a greater move due to the high damage and covers one of my main weaknesses. I head south and the battles are still really difficult and leveling was the right idea. We catch ourselves a Swablu and call it Dragon? Is it really a dragon? Really? The next session is going to be an absolute ball ache. Hard Magma Grunts, which makes it a lot of back and forth to the Pokemon Center again. I'm still amazed by what some of these Pokemon they're using and the fact they have a full team which makes it far more realistic. I mean, they all can't say, here's your obligatory rubbish Pokemon to play with and go out into the world. They're still really hard as I nearly lost It's a Trap and I was left with 2 HP, but I did manage to save him. We then faced someone who had a Torkoal who nearly killed Thrasher. Golem came out next, so I had to switch into Blastoise, who got rid of it in 1. Then came out with Metang, and I think I had Earthquake, and I realised I was going to lose It's a Trap, and I did. I brought in Yokozuna, who did remove it. I wasn't really that gutted losing a trap. As I said last time, there is no Mega Evolution, which would make Warmile a god. Some of these Pokemon that I was seeing was so cool, and I'm loving this ROM. Maybe I should try more of these ROMs? Let me know in the comments which games I should be playing. I remember that I had a Thunderstone, so I was able to get my favourite boy Raichu. After a few more battles, we arrive at Meteor Falls, and here we obtain... nothing. That was stupid. I butt into seeing Team Magma trying to impose themselves on the scientist, and Team Aqua would turn up and admit they love me. I try again to see if I can actually catch something and get a Dunsparce, which is a bit boring, and I call it Snakey. Again, I am struggling for names. We soon face a trainer with the Hoenn starters in their second form, which was cool to fight, even though I smashed them. I smashed some rocks to help a couple have a bonk, and then go face the family of 4. They were easy enough to beat. Had I fought them earlier, however, it would have been a lot harder. I then realised I make a huge boo-boo. I thought I had not done this route, so I caught a Growlithe. However, I had already caught a Absol on this, so again, slag me off in the comments below should you wish. We headed up the cable car and we get to see the mass war going on between the 2 groups. There are still Magma Grunts that need to be smashed before I go anywhere, however. The first mini-boss of the area I have to fight is the admin Tabitha. Dodrio is swatted aside, but then I fight Arcanine, who had Wild Charge, which scared the crap out of me. I did get it out of the way, and I was able to bring in Thrasher, who was able to get rid of the Manectric. I used 2 Mega Horns to get rid of the Flygon, and one of my other favourites, Aggron, comes out, but is taken out by the mighty Yokozuna. Weezing was left, so I switched into Horny, who I was desperate to get to Raiden, but then I got hit with Hidden Power, and that was the end of my dream. I brought in Raichu, and it nearly died as well, so I had to resort to Yokozuna to get rid of it. I then had to go all the way back to heal, which is a right pain, and I had to put Horny in the graveyard. It was really starting to build now, and I feel I should be getting planning permission or something. It was now time to fight Maxi, and I was really worried about this, well, with it being Kaizo and all. And then he sends out, "What? Registeel? Are you kidding me? Like, what the hell?" I bring out Yokozuna, who removes it in 1, but come on! Claydol comes out, and out comes Mega Horn from Thrasher, who removes it and the Alakazam for good measure. Dusclops also falls to Thrasher, who is such a beefy monster. Lord Chu removes Golbat, and I go back to Blastoise to get rid of Houndoom. Maxi buggers off, and Archie arrives and is made up for me helping him. Have I? I just wanted to fight things, not help you. Regardless, I can't believe that Maxi had a legendary in his party, which made me worried about the rest of the game. Like, who else could whip out a legendary Pokemon at any moment? This is when you consider how many there were by Generation 3. I left the mountain and healed up my monsters because there were still Magma Grunts that needed to be cleaned out before getting down into safety. I arrived in Laveridge Town and see the old people having a quick chill out, and considering how this has gone so far, I fancied joining them. I entered the gym and the lights seemed way too high, but then I realised very quickly it wasn't messed up electricity, it was permanent sun, which I realised was going to be a pain, as a huge weakness that fire types have has now been removed while powering up their moves by 50%. Blastoise was not going to be the saviour here, but I did have Thrasher and Yokozuna, who could do heavy damage with their ground and rock moves respectively. Now, I hated jumping around these holes even in the normal games. I do get to fight a Blissey, which I thought was great for the EXP, until I get 7 XP. That's a piss take. Well played, Kaizo. Well played. Thrasher was proven to be key here. He could take on the fire types and also the grass types who like being in the sun's rays. After I face a few trainers, I go out and remember there's a bit of grass that I missed. I catch a Ponyta and call it Amber, after the queen, my wife's, horse. I then remembered that the grass we passed on the way back down from the mountain, so I went back and caught myself a Grimer, and I called it shit. I truly was at the end of my rope for ideas. I started again with the minions in the gym, and this was just an arse going back and forth to the Pokemon Center and through those bloody holes. Eventually, we finally get to Flannery, and God knows what monsters she's gonna have. She starts off with Ninetales, and this was easy picking for Thrasher. Typhlosion was also easy to get rid of, as was Castform. Charizard appears, and now I do need help, so I went to Yokozuna, who rock-slided it to death. He then took out the Fire Chicken and the Fire Dog, and that was that. And what could have been a really hard gym was actually quite easy. I leave the gym and get the Go-Go Goggles from May. Go-Go Goggles. Makes you think of Inspector Gadget. Go-Go Gadget legs! Although I could go through the desert, I take a really long way back to get to the Petalburg gym. This is actually the gym I worried about the most due to the power of Norman's team he had. Well, let's be honest actually, it was just slacking. First it was the minions, and Thrasher was proving he was a monster and was now more powerful than Yokozuna. Whilst on the route to Norman, I got to kill a Meganium. Looks like I won't be seeing Shitarita for a while. I also got to fight a Mr. Shit, which cheered me up immensely. I think we need to come up with nicknames for all the Pokemon that I face that really do my head in. We get to Norman, and as I said, I hate this gym battle normally, but Yokozuna is going to be the key. He first sends out Kangaskhan, who I get rid of with 2 drill runs. I gamble against Espeon speed and get lucky with Mega Horn hitting. Taurus comes out and Intimidate lowers Thrash's attack, so I switch to Yokozuna. He walks in straight into a critical return and barely survives. I return fire and Cross Job does the job. Swallow comes in and I switch to Blastoise, who removes it with an Ice Punch. However, Blastoise isn't going to be able to get rid of Slacking, so I switch into Amber, who has to die for the team. I knew I needed something to die for me to do this. Yoku then comes out and gets rid of it whilst loafing around. Finally, Snorlax comes out and I remove the Blubber Ball in 1. I can't believe that this one was done, but without Yokozuna it would not have ended that way. I actually think it would have been a massacre and probably the end of the run. We then get given Surf by Wally's uncle for me not killing him, I think. And now I have Surf. However, I go back to my hometown, but not to see my mum, but to go to a little pool of water to catch myself. Yay! Another Squirtle! So I call him Squirt Me. Again, I asked the Queen to squirt me with a water gun, as it's been quite hot recently in Australia. With having the Go-Go goggles, I don't actually do much here, but on rewatching the footage, I didn't really catch anything, as it's part of the previous route. We cross the water east of Morphle City to do one of my least favourite bits in the game. This next section is a huge ball ache because there's a lot of trainers to fight and no Pokemon centres, which means a lot of having to go back and forth all the time. This area is huge, well, for Pokemon standards. And then we have to come to this bridge. Oh, are you joking me? You joking me? I have to actually go back and change my bike. I never use my bike in these games because I've got the speed up button on my laptop. So with a new bike in hand, I cross the water to get to the side, only to face more battles. But to be fair, I don't mind. They were challenging and fun to do, and as I said in the last video, I can't just mash A to fly through the game. We meet our new friend of the team, a Scyther, and I call him Raph. I was very happy with this catch because it has a very good attack stat. Well, normally it does, because I find out mine's timid, not jolly, which means its attack stat will be lower than it should be. I felt gutted because I had no idea how to evolve the thing to Scyther, and I won't lie, the sprite of your view makes it look really pathetic. Look at it being dominated. Soon enough, I evolved into Raph. Awesome! That means training Mons will just need to be leveled up. I need a Haunter now! I then remembered, oh yeah, I had a Firestone, and evolved Adventure to Arcanine, but sadly this boy did not have Intimidate. We cleared out the last few trainers to arrive at the weather station where Pokemon's levels were in the mid-50s or 60s. Before I went into the weather station, I went back into the grass and found Lucky Eggs. 6 of them! By the beard of Zeus! This was an absolute game changer, if I wasn't using rare candies. We arrive in the weather station and start fighting the grunts, and I nearly lost Yokozuna to an exploding Executor. I think at that point all my insides fell out. We battled through a lot of them and got our way to Shelly, and by the way, now I'm not a man to fancy computer sprites, but damn, look at that hair! She must go through so much hairspray. She first sends out Milotic and Raph starts air slashing until we get the flinch we needed. Hypno goes down in 1, as does Medicham. I switched into Blastoise to remove the Dragonite, who took 3 Ice Punches to go down, and Raph was able to take out the Lapras. The mighty Shuckle was taken out by Thrasher as it was going for double team protect, and I imagine poison nonsense. What a horrible little mon you are. Like, look how long this is taking. I'm letting this just play out to show how stupid this is. The thing even had to struggle itself to death. Shelly tells me I'm disgustingly strong. I like that. Makes me think there's something like Piccolo would say. I get given the cast form, which may be handy down the track. After saving the day, we barely have enough time to catch our breath when May cycles up and wants a fight. She starts off with my favourite Raichu, so I switch into Thrasher to get rid of it. I then use Yokozuna to get rid of Clefable, and then Thrasher takes out its lover. Then it was onto her starters. I use Raichu to try and use Thunder Wave, but as I'm clearly not learning, everything has a Lumberry, and then bang, I get hit by an Earthquake and lose Raichu. Oh no! How could this happen? I send in Raph to avenge Lordchew. Sceptile comes out, so I send out the illegal Avenger to clean up, and I lose him as well. Well, he was illegal. I hate you, May. I hate you. After a final few trainers were out of the way, I reached Fortrue City and didn't know I'm going to be spending a lot of time here. I regrettably put Raichu in the box, and it makes me feel really sad about having to do this. I also put away the illegal Mon, and I'm still waiting for people to go, oh my god, you cheated. Go for it, I can take the abuse. Now I have time to obtain 2 new Pokemon to the team, and I catch myself a Pidgeot. Yes, happy days, so I call it EasyJet. Yes, Pidgeys are crap, but Pidgeots are amazing. Also, have you seen their Pokedex entry? They are massive, they're like my size, and I'm 6'3". I go to the second patch of grass east of the city, and we catch ourselves in a Zoomarl, which I was really happy with, because if it has huge power, then this thing is a god. I called it FakeChew because everyone thought this was like the new Pikachu when Marl first came out all those years ago. I checked its ability, and no, it's not got huge power. Bollocks. We meet with Steven, who now gives us a special scope. Like, why can't I just kick the Kelkleon and like, move you little bugger? I saw a cave in the water, so I jumped at the chance to potentially catch a new Pokemon. And what do I catch myself? Another Charmeleon! I call it the Queen, at least I have 2 spare starters now. I do some leveling and get the Queen to become the almighty Charizard, adding a very powerful fire type into the gang. I started going through Fortress City Gym, which has no changes to it, but it's still a massive slog due to the minions. I had to keep healing at the Pokemon Center after each battle, but thankfully I didn't lose any Mons. I did face one trainer who had a Charizard, a Sceptile, a Shed Ninja, a Gyarados, a Salamence, and a Kingdra. What a team! Like, that is terrifying, and that's not even the gym leader. Now, I was warned prior to this gym that this was going to be very hard. That's all I was really told about it. So I got everyone to level 70 beforehand just in case, but there was no way I was taking Yokozuna because he would get slaughtered by the flying types. So I had my team of Tian, EasyJet, the Queen, Ice Squirted, Thrasher and Wrath and went into the unknown. Like, how hard could it be? Winnowa sends out, What? Zapdos! And it's a double battle! Oh my god, what the hell? Where's she got that from? And it's not... I'm not prepared for this. So much so, I'm leading with a Blastoise and I know this is not going to be pretty. Tian does get an Intimidate off on the Aerodactyl, which is handy, and it manages to one-shot the Aerodactyl, and Blastoise get a critical Ice Punch on the Crobat when it does come in. I should add, unlike how it is now, duel battles were a mess in Generation 3. This is because at the point when you knock out a Pokemon, a new one is sent in straight away, rather than waiting the end of the turn, which means that it was going to be smacked by a move which it had no way to defend itself by. My gamble failed, and although I took out something, Blastoise goes down to a Thunderbolt. I then get very lucky with a critical Thunderbolt on the Zapdos, and then what the... Articuno? Oh, brilliant, so our last one's going to be Moltres. Although I was very happy I beat Zapdos, I lost Tian to an Earthquake. The Queen gets her first outing to repeat its anime performance to beat Articuno, and as expected, Moltres comes in. Flygon then used Flamethrower on Wrath, but somehow it held on. Now if that had come from Moltres, Wrath was gone. I had to switch to EasyJet to save him. EasyJet got rid of the Flygon, but sacrificed herself because it was taken out by the Moltres. I still had Thrasher, and the combined effort removed it. I was over the moon when I had won such an amazing gym battle, but hurt that I had lost half the team, including my Blastoise. I had to accept this and just carry on that I'd won the match, and I needed to lick my wounds and move on. And that win gave me 6 badges, and I feel that I'm getting so close, but I'm also so far away from making the end. But for my honest arseholes, that'll do it for today. In 3 weeks' time, I'm going to be going to Pokemon Pearl, where I'll be trying to see if I can do the game with the mighty Regigigas. God knows I'm going to be able to do that one. And as always, I'd love to hear from you, so just leave a comment below or throw me a like and I will try and get back in touch. And until next time, I've been HBT, bye bye.